Right. So, last we left off, you had all entered the essentially the chamber belonging to the Order of Metano. There is a portrait at the end of the room, and in that portrait is a very lifelike depiction of the Baroness. You know her, well, you know her specifically because she was your former, well, fucking hell.
The throat clearing really worked for you in that moment, but I think you need to have a sippy.
Yeah, give me a sec.
Because you could probably go with the whole angle of, she was your former... Anyway.
Perhaps. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yes. She was your former... Anyway. The Baroness... You can't hear her in the way you would hear someone speaking to you directly. She is telepathically projecting her voice into your mind. But it's a one-way telepathic connection. So you can hear her because she's projecting through the painting, but she can't read your thoughts.
I see. Yeah. He's probably pretty used to that.
Mm-hmm. And the first thing that the Baroness says is, well, it's lovely to see you again, Guillaume.
It is even more wonderful to see you again, my Baroness. He bows lower.
I'm delighted to hear that. Who are your companions?
As I have traveled among and far, I met with Lord Matano and was tasked with working with these. Though the dwarf is a new addition recently dug out of a tomb.
A tomb?
This is...
How intriguing. You must tell me all about this.
There will be plenty of time for gossip later, my lady.
Of course, of course. Now, unfortunately, you seem to have chased off my manservant who was assisting me here. I don't suppose I could bother you for a small task.
As always, I will do anything that is requested.
Good, good, good. Your companions are not required for this.
Understood. They have been in my companionship some short time, and I would bear fit to follow you instead.
Of course, of course. Now, unfortunately, this does mean that you will need to abandon your travels, as it were. This task requires utmost discretion within the court.
My lady, I will be ready for your words, and, of course, would return to your side, or where I was directed, regardless.
Good, good.
Guillaume takes a very quick look back over his shoulder at the rest of the people, understanding that he is kind of speaking out loud, and he says, of course, there is some level of observancy.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I shall leave you to say your goodbyes. I shall require you to return to me within 2 weeks.
Understood, my lady.
And as you watch the portrait the canvas ripples, and the scenery that is painted on it changes. Where once stood a tall, black-robed woman sitting in front of a open window, there is now a port town, sort of a cliff overlooking a port town that you recognize, but your companions do not.
He simply kind of nods in respect to that, and somewhat examines the scenario, the scene itself, as if he's looking for some sort of key detail or something like that. He's quite close to the painting, but he does nothing further and says nothing out loud.
Okay. Well, as it stands, the painting is... the port town is one that you do recognize. You traveled through there during your escape. It is about 3 days ride as the crow flies from the Baroness's court.
Close to home.
As you lean in closer to the portrait, the canvas ripples more, as if something is pulling on the other side of it.
He pulls himself away from the painting quite quickly, and removes his hat and mask, and stuffs them into his bag. And as he does so, he fishes the Nightingale Bell and the Journal of Dimedan out of the bag and places them on the table behind him, as if leaving them there.
Okay. As you place the Nightingale Bell down on the table, you hear a very faint tinkling sound. And up to this point, the bell has not ever made a sound. It is strange. The bell does not sound like any bell that you've ever heard before. It sounds almost ethereal, as if the ringing isn't actually coming from inside the bell, but from very faintly all the corners of the room.
Ooh, I have a better idea. Guillaume is going to take one of the bells out of his eye and put the Nightingale Bell in there.
Okay.
As if keeping it safe.
As you do so, you feel a crackling surge of energy arc through your eye socket, and the world around you lights up with a silvery glow. Certain objects are highlighted in this bright blue aura, and the bell that you hold in your hands now, the one that you have removed, is one of these objects.
He gives a little smile. He seems pleased about this.
Okay. Any final words before you depart?
He is very specifically leaving that book on the table for Isaac to hold, though not to get wet like the other one. And he will leave one of his other bells behind, just in case. Just in case. He is then going to put his hand into the painting, and before anyone can specifically react, he is going to fully step through, with the jingle of bells following him, and then nothing else.
As you step through the painting, you step out onto a windy cliffside overlooking this port town. As you look behind you, you see a ripple in the fabric of the air. And for a moment, just for a moment, you see your former party standing, staring, watching. And then the air smooths over like glass, and they all disappear.
Guillaume's smile gets a little bit wider.